everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And today we're talking about E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the board game. In fact, it's called Light Years from Home game. So E.T., definitely one of the most iconic movies of the 80s, with one of the best soundtracks of all time. And this is from Funko, who has made every IP in existence into a board game.
They're working on it.
Or is planning to.
Yeah. They're nearly there.
They really are knocking them out right and left. And you know what? They've had a lot of success, and some of them haven't worked out as well. I think I think they trend more towards better than not.
Yes.
But definitely at this point in time, it's still kind of a, well, let's play it and see. I still kind of feel before I decide if something's good or not. So let's take a look. This is a cooperative game. You're trying to get E.T. home because you don't want that wrinkled raisin in your house.
Get out of here. Stop eating my candy, you animal.
Well, there's a lot of that in this game. Let me show you. So in this game, each kid, or you are a player, you're playing a kid. You're going to play Greg, Elliot, Michael, or Drew Barrymore. So anyhow, you're going to, each of these has a special ability, and they have spots to put different things in their bikes. You're going to be hunting down different pieces of equipment so you can help E.T. phone home. Over here you have a bunch of agents who are trying to catch you all. Each agent is color-coded. They're chasing a specific kid, and Agent Key is basically hunting E.T. himself, which, by the way, E.T.'s here, and E.T. can be put into the little basket. Oh, look at that. And when he's in the basket, your bicycle can fly. Well, not quite. There's also a few police cars that are going to be moving on these tracks, trying to get down here, and you don't want that to happen. So on this board is made up of different areas here on the board. Each of these areas has one of these items in it. These are called zones. And kids are able to move around between these zones. Kids can also move on these shortcuts that go from one spot to another. Agents and the police officers will not do that. Kids have this tracker here, which is E.T.'s heart lights. You want to keep that in mind. And you also have some candy. Now, on a player's turn, each player will go in turn, and they're going to take up to 3 basic actions, and then you can take as many free actions as you want. So one of your basic actions is just basically a move. You can move up to 2 spaces. So I go 1, 2, and you can go on roads and shortcuts. You can move through kids, you can move through, pick up E.T., but if you end your turn on a space with E.T. or another kid, then the enemies you're drawing their attention, and you have to roll the danger die. If you move through an enemy, you also will have to be rolling the danger die, and you'll see what happens here. It's going to move some of the police officers, or it's going to move these guys closer to you. Another basic action is you can take a candy. Candy is shared between all the players, and candy is going to be used to move E.T. from danger. You're going to be able to spend candy to move E.T. around the board. And then another basic action you can have is you can pick up an item that's next to you. So if I'm here, I can pick up this item, which is a wild one. I'd put that on my mat. Or you can drop these off. That's a free action to drop them off. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to find the items and drop them off in the zone that shows the color die. Once you find the 3rd die of a color, again, a wild would have worked there, you can use that to build that device. And then you're going to pick that device up, and you got to take it over here and drop it off in this forest clearing. Again, if you pick up a zone and there's an enemy nearby, so if this police officer is here, for example, and I pick this up, again, I have to roll the danger die. Also, some of these things that you'll find are not items, but they're ramps. And when you have a ramp and you land on that, you can jump 2 spaces in a straight line. I guess that's kind of E.T. flying. The free actions, I already said, dropping is a free action, moving E.T. to spend candy, and you can move E.T. for each spot. If E.T. is on your space, you can pick him up in the basket, and when you carry E.T. with you, you can move him whenever you move, so you can get him away from the agents, and you can use one of his cards. There's going to be several cards next to the board, like this flying one, which lets you move up to 3 spaces. Even if you move through or onto enemies, you don't roll the danger die, or taking flight. Oh, we've seen this 100 times in movies. Move to any space that does not contain enemies. Move any or all kids to one space that already contains a kid. Take 3 candy tokens from the supply. Move E.T. to any space that does not contain enemies. Any or all kids may move to that space on the board, the home spot on the board. So you have these different cards. There are 3 available. If you have two kids on the same space, you can team up. And they actually made these so that you can kind of put them together like a puzzle piece. And look, now we're working together as a team. Teaming up means when one of you moves, the other moves with you, and you can use each other's special abilities. Like, for example, she takes a dangerous pickup action without rolling the danger die. Michael can, when he moves, he gets a shortcut for free. Elliot can discard a candy to move ET 3 spaces. So you can do that when you're working together. So you got to build these devices, and you're trying to get these devices here. So to build a device, you need 4 of the same color. I said 3, it was 4. So we pretend that we use that plus these 3 blue to build that device. And ET has to be there to help build the device. Why are you doing that? Because at the end of each round, you have a phone home. If there's any dice here, you're going to roll these dice. And for each phone symbol that you roll, which is on 2 sides of the die, the spaceship moves 1 space closer to picking up ET. At the end of a player's turn, they're going to roll the enemy dice, and you're going to just roll both of these enemy dice, and if you're on the same spot as another kid or ET, you also roll the danger die. It will show you who moves. For example, this says the police officer A is going to move on his path. This is going to move your assigned agent, the one who's coming after you, that many spaces. This one moves all the agents. This one doubles the other card. This one moves Agent Keys, and you see the different police officers that are moving around, and there's very similar things here. Now, what do these agents do? If they move on to you, they catch you. Whenever an agent catches you or ET, we dial down his heart light down by 1. You don't want his heart light to get to 0. If it reaches 0, players lose. If the 3 police officers land on their spots here and surround the clearing, players lose. The way that you win is by ET getting rescued. You have to get ET to this spot, and the ship lands there. If that happens, players win. There's a few other rules, but that's basically how the game operates. The production of this game is, there's something about putting ET in a basket. That's so dumb. And carrying the dice around that I really enjoy.
No, the little bikes are definitely the highlight, and then I guess the mothership is pretty cool. Linking them together to move around, that's a cute little touch. Just, I mean, it's unnecessary. You could just say you move together, but if you link them, you won't forget that. The standees and all the cardboard bits are fine, and I actually happen to like this weird-shaped board. I like the look. I like the 1970s color palette and what's going on in it. So the look I'm happy with.
It has this down, I like these Where's Waldo type things where you're looking down in all the houses and the cars and stuff. I like that. Theme-wise, I think this game actually works pretty well. The agents are chasing you. You're a bunch of kids running around trying to get ET home, and it's just kind of like get home before, you know, it's a timer mechanism.
Yeah, it's just the end of the movie, right? I mean, it's basically what this is.
Right, that's pretty much it. I think, for me, I got to look at this under the umbrella of it's a family game, because this ain't a gamer game.
Correct.
And that's mostly because there is an extreme amount of luck in it. And that luck is from rolling those dice. Those dice, the bad guys, you can roll really well, and the bad guys don't move much at all. Or the bad guy who's not chasing you, whatever. Like the police cars, they're like a game timer, and they could move really fast or not at all. And the agents are going to always move towards you, but again,
But you still have to roll their die. You still they need to be coming up, right? I mean, and that will happen frequently enough where it's not as loosey-goosey as you might think. They will move. It just, some games you'll have more pressure from them than others. Then the phones, when you construct I guess we're building phones, I don't know. And you're rolling those dice to move the mothership along. That is very swingy. You could have games in which that thing just zips along and shows up very quickly. Some games in which you're dragging it over. So yeah, sure, very lucky.
And that's why I'm putting it kind of in the family category, because you are running around and collecting stuff, but it's random what you find. And the thing is, game after game after game, you're doing the same thing.
Yes.
It's not like, hey, in this game, let's try to build these 2 devices. No. You turn over tokens you found. I found 2 yellow. we're going to build the yellow phone. I turned over a blue and a green. I'll try to build both those phones. Whatever. You know what I mean? You need to build all 3 phones. You need to avoid the enemies. And you need to get AT there. It's the same thing every game. And to that end, I can't recommend this as highly as I would like to otherwise. I think it's a fun one-time experience. And maybe you'll play it again and have a fun twice experience. And after that, you're playing the same thing over and over. As opposed to a game that gives you more options.
It's certainly repetitive. And I should say, you don't need to build all 3 phones. Somebody will comment on that. Because you just say you need to build all 3 phones. You don't have to.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Well, I mean, you want to build all 3 phones.
Because you'll just speed the thing along. I disagree with you that it is that first play is good because you're not dealing with the repetitive nature of the game. And my reasoning for that is I think there's too many little rules to learn to then have the return just be one play. And you're like, that was good. I could see it not being replayable, but it was good. Because it's too much, it's not heavy lifting, but it's too much to learn for a play. I think there is a slight mismatch here between game style, which is fine, lucky, family game with this theme. I don't know what kids are into ET, but okay.
That's true. That's another thing, too. My kids haven't seen the movie, and I don't think they care.
It's just, but sure, let's set that aside. I think there are too many finicky rules for a game this lucky. I think some things here could have been streamlined out. The one that jumps to mind immediately, the ramp.
And you pundit jumps to mind. Okay, sorry.
I jumped.
That's the exact thing I was going to say.
The ramp jumps the shark.
They could have dropped the ramp easily. It adds almost nothing to the game other than explaining another rule.
It's just another thing, right? And there's a lot of that.
When you roll the red die, is not particularly easy to remember.
What's a risky action? What's a risky pickup? What's a this? What's a that? Where you go and how you do it and who, if I'm here doing something, then it's like, wait, this person's technically next to you because you're affecting this area in here. There's a lot of finicky rules. I think this game could have been streamlined, kept to the amount of luck and strategy that it has, which is, again, not balanced, but there's a lot of luck. Kept that, which I have no problem with for the type of game it is, and been way more streamlined, just simpler to bring to the table. As it is right now, I dread bringing it to the table a little bit because I have to dig out the book and be like, okay, this part here is easy.
There is an entire page here in the back of frequently asked questions.
You should not have that many for this kind of game.
Yeah, there's a lot of reference on the back and stuff. I don't think it's as bad as Z is saying, but definitely there are a lot of cooperative games in the world. And there are simple ones for families, Castle Panic and stuff.
Sure.
Even Pandemic is not that complicated, honestly. But those games offer more choices to me. This one is a very specific one. Do you love the movie E.T.? You want to share that with your family. You might want to get this, honestly, despite everything we're saying.
Yeah, that's fine. If you are a big fan of the IP, this is not a bad game for you. Absolutely.
But for me, I'm giving it a 6. And that's because I played it. I enjoyed it. I got in the theme. I made Z listen to the music of E.T. And it was fun. It's just that I don't want to keep playing it. I think I've seen everything the game has to offer, and I also don't know who I'm going to play it with other than other 80s kids who are nostalgic for this. Nostalgic's fine. Funko's made a lot of nostalgic games. I just think that this one leans more into the nostalgia than it does into a good game.
I agree. I'm going to rate this one a 5. I dislike it more than you do. I think it really is... it's got an identity crisis a little bit. It has this theme, again, for people that are not children. The game feels like it's designed, maybe not for children, but certainly with children in mind. I think kids are going to be sitting at the table playing this game, being basically grabbed by the hand and led along by a smiling adult who remembers this stuff, and rolling dice and not really getting too much else out of it, having to contend with a lot of rules that I'm sure the grown-up will be like, oh, it's not that hard, little buddy. I'll do it. That's the feeling I'm getting. This is This doesn't know who he wants to be for. Grown-ups, then it's too lucky and dumb. Kids, then what's with the theme and this many rules? That's what I mean. 5 for me.
Alrighty, well that's E.T. He has left the building, phoned home, I don't know. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
Have fun with your old movies.